Okay, I'm going to call to order the City of Haslett Planning and Zoning Commission at on April 30th at 6:33. And so we'll move on to the agenda. Item number 2, citizen participation and comments. Is there anybody out there that just wants to make general comments about the City of Haslett? Anything at all? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 3. Okay, items of community interest. Okay, item 3A, the City of Haslett general election will be held Saturday, May 4th from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We had early voting going on now, and I think early voting ends this week, I think. So anyhow, we're electing city council members to place 1, place 3, and place 5, all terms for 2 years. Also have a special election for Saturday, May 4th, determine if the citizens desire to reauthorize the local sales and use tax, which is 0.25% sales tax. And that money, I think, is used for maintenance purposes, mostly on streets, and we don't have any streets. Okay. And we do need that. So, all right, move on to make this point. City of Haslett registered voters may vote in any Tarrant County election polling location. So you don't have to go. If it's one on Schoolhouse Road, it's the most convenient for all of it. Item 3B, brush and limb drop-off day, Saturday, May 18th, 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. At the Public Works Department on Schoolhouse Road. Anybody here live here, want to know where that is? No. Okay, up on Schoolhouse Road off to the east. Haslett city offices will be closed Memorial Day, May 27th. And item 3D, Haslett is hiring, still looking for Park and Grounds Maintenance Worker 1, Parks and Grounds Crew Leader, Water Maintenance Worker 1, Water Maintenance Worker 3. And you should visit the Employment Opportunities site on the webpage if you're interested in that. And if you know anybody, particularly in the worker 1 categories, I would say that if you know a young person that is interested in getting into any sort of public work, which is a good job, right, Mike? Been here for a while, yeah. But it's not public work, but I mean, it's a good position for a young person to learn a lot about what goes on to make a city operate, what makes the city run. People don't understand the intricacies of water systems, wastewater systems, drainage, stuff like that. So, and then, yeah, if they come in here and get some good training, there's plenty of opportunities all around the Metroplex or even in the small communities out there. So I would suggest that if anybody's aware of anybody, that's a good place for a young person coming out of high school. Get some training, good on-the-job training. Consent agenda, item 4A, the meeting minutes for 26 March 2024. Do we have them up, James? Are they? I don't see them. No. Huh? I don't. This is the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes.
Oh, look. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, pass. All right, thank you. All right, so we'll move on to item 5A. Item 5A is discuss, consider, and act regarding the approval of an amended master land use plan. Staff presentation.
Chairman Wallach and members of the commission, when we first looked at this master land use plan, we thought we did a pretty good job, but there are several areas that need tweak, and plus there's 3 little tweaks that we want to make due to a law change that the state did this past legislative session. The first item I want to zoom in on is up at the northwest corner of it. He's going to put his pointer right on it, right there. And this is a change from industrial to residential. And the reason for this change is we would like to have all, or almost all of the traffic that's generated from this parcel that would come down John Day Road to Avondale Hassett Road be more of a residential nature instead of a commercial / industrial. And this way it keeps the trucks to the north, which then when Hazlitt Road is improved to the north, they can go out that direction instead of down to the south. And that's the goal, is to keep the industrial traffic off of the residential area of the city, which then, if they come down to Avondale Hazlitt, they would go over to 156 and down to the south. And that's just not what we'd like to see. Now, the other areas that are ones down at the very southwest part of town, right there where he's got his little hand pointer. And this is an area that it's in white right now because those people petitioned the city to be out of the extraterritorial jurisdiction. And that is the same with the other two areas down south of Blue Mound Road. And it's a choice that the city has they can't oppose it. After 45 days, it's an automatic. So they're out. Since they're out, we're not going to show a land use form. And those are the changes that we're recommending.
Any questions?
When you say they're out of the EJ and coming into the city?
They're not coming into the city. They are out of the extraterritorial jurisdiction. We no longer have any subdivision control over them. And of course, there's no zoning control over them. They have just elected to be out.
Right now, what's that land zone?
It's not.
No zoning at all?
There's no zoning.
Agricultural?
No. There's no zoning in the county. If it's not inside within the city limits of the city, there are no zoning requirements.
So my question is, how's it going to affect all those trucks that keep trying to turn left and come down for the city? Is it going to affect our ability to enforce that law or anything?
Which area?
The Blue Mound, I think, is what it is, where they have the storage trucks. They store on the hill. Let's say going to the west. Is it going to affect our ability to enforce that law at all?
Well, on John Day Road, we can always put signs up that say, no truck traffic.
I think he's talking about Blue Mound.
Blue Mound, sorry, Blue Mound.
Blue Mound. Talking about Blue Mound over there where we have the RV lot and then east of that. And
Yeah, big Walmart.
These two areas here.
Yes,
Walmart store.
we're going to try to force everything that we can to the east.
So it's not going to affect our ability to enforce that, right?
No.
Okay.
The road, Blue Mound Road, is inside the city, so we have control.
So we have out there at the the intersection of these areas in Blue Mound, the city has put up a sign that basically said, "Don't turn left."
That's correct.
If you go west, young man, you're subject to a fine.
Yeah.
Have we had any issues with that?
I'm not
That you're
aware of
aware
any.
of?
I'm sure there have been some trucks that have still gone, towards the west, but we're trying to deter any as much as we can because we don't want that traffic getting into the 156 / Blue Mound Road intersection.
To that intersection, they still need to turn west and go into the subdivisions
Right.
where we built.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still have traffic. So we
Yeah.
do that. Okay. And then that Walmart, that is the other one on the east side. Is that Walmart area?
No, it's the one on the west side,
The one on the west side is
next to the red area. Yeah.
next to the red area. And what was the one on the east side?
Well, right now it's a vacant land, if I remember right, isn't it, James?
Is that vacant land there? Right next. Yeah, okay, that's that one that's entered. Okay. Dirt road going back.
ordinance that owner aware that
We sent, it's been published in the paper as advertised. But as far as contact, we're not required to do that.
All right. Any other comments? Do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we recommend to the city council the approval of the amended master land use plan as proposed.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, passed unanimous. Item 5B, discuss, consider, and act regarding the approval of an amendment to the Haslett City zoning ordinance, creating a new district, CF Community Facility. So, Swanky, you want to tell us about that one?
Yes, sir. This is an amendment change, adding a new subcategory. There is a community service zoning district title in our zoning ordinance, and there are three categories underneath that. One of them is public, institutional, and another one is parks. I believe there's just those two. And what we would like to do is create a third, which is community facilities, which is just public that the city owns, like city hall, libraries, fire stations. The 78 acres that we own east of Schoolhouse Road, and it also can include water towers, sewage pump stations, just whatever we have that's public. Instead of lumping it together with churches, schools, post offices, it'll be a separate category by itself. And having said that, if this is approved, there will be subsequent zoning changes that'll come forward, which will carve out those pieces in the city that are owned by the city and put into this category. That is correct. You know, what he said, when they were first, churches were just under community facilities, and then there was a ordinance change that broke them out of the overall community facilities and changed the name to public/institutional. And so the churches will remain the same, and, there's no new standards for them. We're just taking the publicly owned land out that's owned by the city and putting it in a category by itself. And that's the only purpose for this.
I have a quick question for you. You said the other one was parks. Isn't parks city-owned? Wouldn't that
It
fall in?
is, but it's already in a category by itself. So
Why leave it that way? Why not put it in just the community facilities and we'll keep two?
It can. It could be, but, it's sort of a unique thing. While everything else is city-owned, just like the parks are, except it is just not parks. It's everything else but parks.
Okay.
My only question is, what are the pros and cons of doing what we're what we're recommending?
When you look at the zoning map, and if you see something that's zoned as community facilities, you know that the city owns it.
Okay, it's mostly just it's a designation on
Yes.
the
Mm-hmm.
jump out.
That's correct.
Okay.
somehow back when it used to be facility, somehow it got dropped out. Changed the ordinance, wiped it out,
before me.
My only concern that I'm gonna go back to the parks thing is there's a lot of facilities at the parks that people use, the basketball courts, there's, I don't know, is there things to barbecue with, like, and stuff, or pavilions to use? And so I would think that some people would think, well, that's a community facility, that's at a park, but it's a community facility, and so now we're doing community facility versus parks, and I just wasn't sure if that's gonna cause some sort of confusion about, well, what are we under? Are we under the parks version? Are we under the community facilities version? Versus just include parks in there because they have it. I don't have a very strong feeling about it. I'm just saying I think that's the only concern that I would bring. In my opinion, because it could, because you got community facilities, just the generic, just thinking of the term community facilities, the thought that goes through my mind is like City Hall, but it was also parks. And the facilities that you use at parks that the city provides are things that just came to my mind. But now we're looking at saying, okay, we're going to define community facilities separate from the community facilities that we have at the parks and the parks, which are kind of community facilities, in my opinion, too, for the community to use. But
Yeah, I think it'll make it easier in the long run when somebody looks at a zoning map. They want to find where the parks are. They don't have to sort through all the city-owned properties. They can say the park here, here, and here because it'll show up as differently, rather than, you know, water towers and city halls and libraries.
okay, and I mean, that's a good point.
In our zoning ordinance, what's the definition of the park?
It's right under this in the zoning ordinance, but I can pull it up and read it to you if you want. James, can you pull up the zoning ordinance and go to that, or I can do it? You know, as you look down through the rest of this, well, looking for that, there's a use chart, which in the use chart, it's spelled out just what it also shows what park. Yes, it's under chapter 14A. Okay, you mean to, I've got it pulled up. Okay, it's 3.4 point. There's the definition of what are parks and open space zoning district intended to provide for parks and open space sites include city, county, and other government privately owned but with public access. Parks and open public parks and open spaces should be integrated with providing for a variety of open spaces, including generally people, bridges.
Nowhere does that say that city.
No, it's
Yeah, and it makes sense that you couldn't put that under your community facility because it includes things that aren't owned by the city. Okay.
All right. I'd like to make a motion that we recommend to the city council approval of the amendment to the Hazlet zoning ordinance, creating the new district CF for community facilities.
I second it.
Item 5C, discuss, consider, and act regarding the approval of the Mid-Cities Women's Clinic site and landscape plan. So we'll start with staff presentation.
And members of the board, this particular site is part of a larger site that you looked at several weeks ago, and there was a preliminary plat that was submitted for parts of Laterra South that is under one ownership, and where they were subdividing that lot into various tracts. And one of the tracts that it was aimed at was the Mid-Cities Women's Clinic, which is Lot 6 of the Laterra South development, which the site shows up there with the arrow. And what it is, it's a clinic for women, and they've provided us with a site plan, a photometric plan, and a site plan, and it meets our ordinance, and it also mirrors and reflects the site plan that was included on the preliminary plat, except now that we have more detail of the individual elements. Subsequently, after this, there's another item that's related to this, which is the final plat for the site. So once these two things are approved by the city council, then they'll be able to pull a permit after they submit the appropriate plans and have those reviewed by the building inspections department.
I'm Eric Crawford, 114 Brentwood Lane. Excited about them coming to town, and Heritage Baptist fully supports them. It's going to be an awesome thing for our city.
I'm Jeremy Nelson. I'm the engineer of record on the project. If you have any questions, I'll be available.
James, could I have you scroll down to the next drawing, please, on that? There you go. That shows a landscape plan. This is a little bit different, just some more information. Out front, there's actually a detention pond, for water and, when it rains. So it's not like it's just going out and you have the street. There is a facility that's going to be put in front of this building for drainage purposes.
Rendering they show for the building, or is that?
Oh, the elevation? Yeah. Can you scroll down? See, there's the elevation. There you go.
That's a conceptual rendering of what they plan to produce. It will be very similar to that, for sure.
I asked because the other buildings there are different.
Mm-hmm.
Well, really, it's a beautiful picture done that way, but
Well, just to the north of this is a Sonic. and then to the north of that is a 7-Eleven. So,
Well, I think what Doreen was getting to was just the architecture of that
mhm.
south of the sun, that whole development there. And I mean, I don't know that we have any. I mean, there's nothing that would require it. It was just a
There's
general
not.
question. We're gonna put different buildings on all of these different plots, and they're all gonna look different,
That's definitely
And they
a
could.
potential, yes.
and they could, because there's nothing. It's
Nothing.
not a
Nothing that
not a
precludes
planned
that.
development or anything. like
No.
that. Very good. Okay. So meets all of the city's requirements and everything else?
Yeah. Yes, it does. I just want to clear up, this is part of a planned development for that whole Laterra South, but it isn't, it's not controlling what each individual.
It's not an architecturally controlled.
That
what
is
I'm
correct.
saying. They don't have any architectural controls there.
That is correct.
It's part of that area, which is different. So. Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Do we not get letters from George anymore about these projects?
We get letters from George on plats, which you will see that on the next item. But it's not going to be from George, it's going to be from Mr. Anderson. But from Belchef and Associates.
Do I have a motion? Oh, yeah, close the public hearing at whatever time it is, 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. Do I have a motion? Oh, we did close the public hearing. We just had discussion. All right. Got ahead of myself. So, do we have a motion?
I'd like to recommend that we recommend approval of the Mid-City Women's Clinic site and landscape plan.
I will second.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? None? Okay, unanimous. Item 5D, that's related to that then. So, discuss, consider, and act regarding the approval of the final plat of Lot 6, Laterra Village. Staff
And-
presentation.
Yes, and then we mentioned almost everything on this except that Commissioner Snedeker, there will be a letter from the Belchef and Associates in that part of the packet that addresses this particular item. And concerning the plat and also the rough proportionality certificate and copies of the plat and the plans themselves. So they're all included in that. No public hearings on plats. No, the only thing that's required is zoning cases and site plans for public hearings. The plats are, for the most part, administrative.
Make a motion that we recommend to the city council the approval of the final plat of Lot 6, Laterra Village.
I second it.
All in favor? That's unanimous. Item 5E. Now we're moving off of that area. Discuss, consider, and act regarding the approval of an amended site and landscape plan for 112 Harmon Road. Staff presentation.
Chairman Wallach and members of the board, this is something that you've seen several times that have come through with the site plan and also plats. And what they're doing and what we talked about early on this site was, at one point they wanted to add a truck wash, and but they decided not to, and so they did not include it on the site plan. But now they've gone back and said, we want a truck wash, and so they're adding that building to it exactly where it was, shown before. And we had no problems with it before, but it's part of this site plan. That's the reason why they've come forward with this. And James, can you just scroll down, I believe, to just the next slide? Keep on going. Keep on going. Right there. It sort of shows up black on that photometric plan where it's at. And go to the next slide. And you can see it there again. And there's some landscaping that'll be done just to the west of it. But they've included a photometric plan out of this, a landscape plan, and this, of course, this site plan as part of their package.
All right, so, is that it?
That's it.
All right, then I'll open the public hearing on item 5E. If anybody is here that wishes to speak to it, come forward, turn the mic on, and let us know who you are.
Thanks, everybody. This is a site plan amendment.
What is your name?
Sorry. Nathan Rivera. I'm part of the general contractor, the project manager for this project, which is
Nate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Project manager for the project, which is already in construction. After discussions with the client, they ended up taking the decisions to move forward with this truck wash. And essentially what we're doing to the site plan is adding this building, shifting a little bit of those parking stalls to have enough space for the fire lane. And essentially landscape stays the same, photometric stays the same. And we're just adding these 24 feet tall building that will allow Mainfreight to provide cleaning to a trucks while their drivers are on site. And back in the day, you guys had questions regarding how we're draining any of this wastewater, and I'm here to respond to any sort of questions that you guys might have.
Scott Pratt, fill out a form. You want to speak to the...
My name is Scott Pratt. I'm from Mainfreight. I'm the terminal manager who's operating that site. Just here to answer the question why we want it.
And just a note for the commission, there's this big diagonal line that goes through this property, and that's an easement that this is just going to be on the west side.
That's a pipeline?
That's a pipeline easement. Yeah.
And they're building a truck wash?
No, but they're not building across it. They're just building adjacent to the easement.
Yeah.
I just wanted to note what that big diagonal is, because most sites don't have a big diagonal across them.
I saw that.
But they've respected that easement, and it's all outside of
it. Anything else in the public hearing? Anybody else want to speak to it? For or against, or anything else? So we'll close the public hearing at 7:07 and go to discussion. So I have a question, and I'm sure you've already vetted this out, but obviously that's a pipeline easement, and the pipeline company has no problems. Since it's truck traffic, they have no problem with.
Yes, they have their own requirements, and basically we have to have enough clearance from our paving top to the rim of the pipe, plus most of the space, as you can see, that takes care of that easement is green space, as it was required by them. The truck wash itself is shifted from the easement itself, so it's not on it. So anything related to the truck wash will not affect that easement.
So you're not paving. You're not going to pave in it over that easement.
No, sir. As you can see, that building footprint is right outside of it. It's going to be right next to a curb, which is what's on top of the easement. The paving that's on top of the easement has enough clearance as required by the pipeline company.
All right. So how do we handle how do we handle the environmental on that truck wash? All of the grease and oil and everything else.
They'll have grease traps and sand traps and everything that are involved with the construction of that. And their engineer will provide those documentation.
Yes, for the building itself, we have grease traps, sand oil separators. For the truck wash, the way we're draining that wastewater is routing to a reclaim pit that has 9,000 gallon capacity to hold water. The excess of that will drain towards our grinder lift station that will join our main sewer line. Any solids will get grinded. We have a water oil separator right after we drain from the truck wash, and all detergent that's going to be used is regular pH levels, anything normal to wash levels.
All right, so there's no surface runoff from that truck wash area that possibly could get into detention pond?
No, sir. Everything is draining to main, through a trench going to a main drain that directs to those reclaim pits, then going to a water oil separator, then to a lift station.
So all self-contained within that facility?
Yes, sir. The goal is to reclaim as much water as possible to, one, reduce the flow towards our main sewer, and also utilize it for cleaning those trucks and provide more efficiency. Some of it, but most of the wastewater will go toward lift station.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm not going to get into the engineering of it. I'll let LTF handle that. So, but anyhow, that's just curious. Anything else?
Was another, oh, it looked like there was another little coming off of that building. I was wondering what it was.
Been on the landscaping plans, I think that might be, yeah, it's the way you're zooming in. Sometimes it will show some lines. As you can see here, you cannot see it, but if you zoom out.
That one, what's that little like jut coming?
Yeah, if you zoom in, yeah, just like that, those lines shouldn't be appearing.
That little block, extra block.
Correct. It should be part of it. If you zoom in, it should be shown.
This is the facility when we had the original plat on that, where we were concerned about no truck traffic going north or going south on Harmon Road, right? Everything's got to go north back toward.
That is correct. And if you, I don't know, entrance shows it or not on this, can you show the entrance?
That'll work, but
another one.
that's still showing.
Yeah, the traffic is going to be, the idea is to force it to the north.
It's all got to go to Westport Park.
Yeah. And not to the south.
No, there is no south.
There is no south, no. You can't get out on, well, you can, I guess, but it's not really rated for trucks.
No, I mean but that driveway on the south end does not look like that was configured for.
No, there was another drawing that actually.
I mean, Greg made a big deal about it.
Yeah. You could look at page 4. Right below the
This is already approved though, it's just adding the truck walk, right?
No,
Yeah, just
So,
I was just looking at the site. We made a big deal.
Right.
Over there, Carmen,
yeah,
you can't go.
I'll try to describe it.
Right.
Right there. If you look at that entrance a big sweeping curve
Yeah.
towards the north, so you come in from that way, going to the right, both that drive, southern is
No
almost-
radius.
almost 90 degrees in.
Yeah, yeah.
Very difficult to maneuver that while you can still sweep the
They're gonna do paving improvements along Harmon Road through there, but they're gonna take it to where they're shown to the south property line.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, and yeah, there is no radius, there's no turning radius.
There's no turning radius.
Going south, okay, I understand. So, if anybody tried to make that turn, get a truck hung up, so. Okay, all right, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that, if you do try to go that way, you're gonna be running over several curbs and probably
Yeah, that's not gonna work, okay, I got it. I'm just-
Appurtenances, fire hydrants, all different kinds of.
Yeah, okay, very good.
It's maybe a dumb question, but are there any hours of operation on this thing, or is it 24/7?
Well,
There's the manager right there. Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Scott,
gonna matter a
you
whole
wanna-
lot, but just curious.
At the moment, we wouldn't be running 24/7. It would be 2 hours a day. Yeah. But
Speak up a little.
yeah, mainly 22 hours a day, not quite the full. Eventually, we may have.
There's no.
All right, very good. So we'll,
I have one
yeah,
quick thing. I just wanted to clarify. I'm gonna talk loud so you can hear me through the thing. So, just talking about this box,
that's correct.
this whole area, this light is on the original. Thank you.
good question. Hard to get out. All right, very good. So any other comments, questions, concerns? Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a recommendation to City Council approval of our amended site landscape plan 112.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, passed unanimous. Okay, you get it? Item 6, executive session. We don't have any, right? So we'll move on to item 7. There's nothing there. Status of current development project. It's in your packet. Any questions or any comments we want to talk about? Anything there's going on? Any questions for Mike when you got him sitting at the table? It's a good time to get him. How we coming on activity out there? Still hustling and blowing and going?
Yeah, we're still moving forward. I think we're about to see a little uptick in some of our permits that we're about to take in. Some of the subdivisions said they're about to be bringing
Thank you, guys.
quite a few to us, so we're about to see these numbers increase a little bit.
Okay. And you don't need help, huh?
Potentially, we're. Oh. Yeah, we have third-party plan reviews and inspectors that we're utilizing right now. So.
Just quick, how's it? I mean, is it picking up? Are people buying these? They building and they're buying?
I don't know about the buying part of it. I know the building is still staying pretty steady as far as selling these homes. I haven't really talked to the builders here lately to figure out how that's going. So.
But they're building them. I mean, they're building on these lots.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Yes, sir.
Has it slowed down at all, or is it because of the way interest rates are with the?
I think it's slowed down a little bit for this time last year. We've definitely slowed down a little bit, but we're still staying fairly busy right now.
You want to talk to any future agenda items, Mr. Swank?
Yes, I do. As mentioned, after the council acts on the community facilities, there will be some zoning activity, and I don't know quite how we're gonna bring them all to you. We may not, maybe not do it at one time because they're scattered all over the city. And then there's also still an ordinance that I'm working on for you guys in concerning what's required on the site plan applications. Like right now, the photometric plans are not, but I've been asking people to provide those, even though they're not a requirement that are in the ordinance to do it with a site plan. And it's just one of those things. It's really interesting. They put it in, it's in the ordinance, but they put it where something where it really doesn't mean anything, and that is on the preliminary plat. On a preliminary plat, you have vacant lots, and you don't necessarily know what buildings are going to go there. So how do you have a photometric plan for that? It just doesn't make any sense. So we will delete that and add it back into the site plan. There's several other things I also want to add into the site plan, checklist. So we'll try to do that all at one swoop. That's it.
Got any update on the QT thing?
I haven't heard from them lately. They've all been approved at the city council.
It was all approved.
And as far as I know, they're moving forward with it. I did notice it's been several weeks ago they had actually they were doing some bores out there, for soil samples, and that's just one of the things they normally do before they would come in with the design, just to see what they have under the ground there as far as substructure, to put piers in or whatever they need to do. But other than that, I haven't seen any activity.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Doreen? Item number 10.
I make sure we adjourn.
We're adjourned at 7:20.